Welcome back, everyone, to the podcast, The Equestrian's Inner Life. I'm Penella, your host, and today I am very excited to introduce to you a truly inspiring athlete, Melissa Galloway. Melissa is a dressage rider from New Zealand who dared to dream and then made that dream come true through dedication, perseverance, and a genuine love for her horses. She is New Zealand's highest ranked dressage competitor, and over the past few years, she and her horse Joey have dominated the Australasian scene, going undefeated in major FAI classes, breaking national records, and proudly representing the Kiwis at the world stage. At the 2024 Paris Olympic Games, Melissa set a new New Zealand Olympic Grand Prix record. And behind that score lies a story of overseas training, years of partnership with a horse she nurtured since he was just 2 years old, and an unwavering drive to reach the very top. Her journey has been filled with both trials and triumph. And in today's conversation, we'll explore how she found her way, what riding and partnering with Joey has meant to her, what she's learned along the path, and how representing New Zealand at the Paris Olympics has changed her world for the better. So, welcome, Melissa.
Thank you so much. That's what an introduction. Thank you.
Oh, that's good. Well, to start the conversation off, tell me, what do you feel most inspired and excited about in your life at the moment?
And at the moment, I think a variety of things.
Yes.
I feel very inspired by my team of horses I have at the moment. Of course, I have a young team of varying levels. One that is he's just done his first Prix St. George into one, and he's today actually just did his first line of 15 1-tempies. So I was very excited, and I think just bringing up that next generation of horses, and they're all so different, and I think they all inspire you because you don't know how they're going to end up, and so that's very exciting. On that horse front, I feel very inspired to keep going in that way. And in my family life, I also feel like I'm excited to explore that side a little bit more and find a bit more of a balance, I think, in my life. I think that's really important.
Yes, it is about the balance, isn't it?
It's hard to do.
Yes, exactly. What does it mean to you to be an equestrian and to live this equestrian lifestyle? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I feel very, very blessed that this is something that I can do. I know a lot of young girls would just love to do what I've done or have these opportunities, and that's something that I really don't take for granted. And I really make sure to remember that this is such a privilege to have done this and to still do this as a career. It means a huge amount to me. My mum rode horses. She wasn't competitive or anything. She just did it for fun, out hacking and trail riding and things. But it's really quite special to be carrying that on, that love for horses that she had, and she's been able to follow my journey. And I can't believe where it's ended up taking us, to be honest. It's very special to me that this is something I can do and help others do now. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And did you always wanted to be a dressage rider, or when did that sort of come about?
Yes, it was always dressage. So I was a very keen dancer when I was young. I did ballet from the age of 4, and I ended up doing competitive Highland and Irish dancing as well. And then I was doing that, and at primary school, doing full-on dancing, trying to ride horses. I was doing netball, trying to do a bit of everything. And my parents were a little bit like, hey, when I got to college, what are you going to choose? Because you can't do everything and do it justice. And I guess dressage was that perfect mixture of dancing and horses. And it just was the dream combination for me, really, because I love music. And love horses, so it's perfect.
And it is a dance, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is.
So if you just sort of go back and sort of tell us a bit about the story when you actually got Joey, because he's the one that took you, or, you know, you both took each other the whole way. So maybe take us back and sort of how it all began.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So I actually moved to Germany when I was 18 and trained under Hubertus Hufendijk, who at the time was New Zealand's national dressage trainer. We had a national coach back then. And I sold the horse that I had at the time to move over there and do a year training and learn. And when I came back from that year, I had no horse, so I was ready to look for something new and young. And I've always wanted to train my horses from the start. I've never had a schoolmaster or any horses that had been already produced. So I was looking for young horses, and I actually saw these two young horses pop up on Trade Me, because that's what we used to look at for horses back then. And both of them were by a stallion called Johnson, which is a Dutch dressage stallion. And I had actually ridden a horse by the stallion Johnson in Germany while I was there for that year, and this horse had been particularly difficult with other riders, but I really got along with it and I loved it. So as soon as I saw that there were horses in New Zealand bred by the stallion, I just thought, oh my goodness, yes, like I'm going to ring up and ask them. And so I did. And I was I think I was 19 or 20 when I rang up and asked about these horses. And originally they just said no straight away, because they had the older one, which wasn't Joey, it was Johnny, which is Joey's older half-brother, had a really bad reputation of bucking and had bucked a lot of riders off and gone through 3 separate breakers. And they basically said, no, we want a really, really good rider for these horses. They need a really confident rider. And then I rang them back and said, oh, well, I actually had just been in Germany. I rode a Johnson. Could I please come and try? And I went up there and rode the older one. He was 2 years older than Joey. He was just turned 4, I think, and loved him. And then Joey was just in the paddock as a 2.5-year-old or 2-year-old. And I saw him, I just thought, wow, like one of those ones where you just see and you just think he's got something special. And all I really saw was his beautiful face. And then he trotted around loosely in an arena and did a little bit of loose canter. And I thought he had a really soft, beautiful canter. And then he just did a little bit of trot in a round pen, because he wasn't broken in or handled a lot. So, and then I just saw like, wow, as soon as he trotted, I thought there is something in that trot that could be brought out of him. And that was the beginning, really. So we ended up buying both of them.
Oh,
yeah.
Bonus.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so, yes, that moment where you put your eyes on him, that was it.
Yeah, that was it. And the funny thing was I wanted him, not the older one. And so we said, can we buy the younger one, just Joey, and not the older one? And they ended up saying, you can't have Joey without taking the other one, because we wanted him gone so bad in the end. So we were like, 2-for-1 deal. It worked out. The older one ended up being the first horse I ever trained to Grand Prix, and I won the under-25 Grand Prix championship with him. So it all worked out in the end.
Wow. So you already did that with the older one first, and then you brought Joey on.
Yes,
wow.
So Joey was my second horse I'd ever trained to Grand Prix, A lot of people probably don't realise that, because he was the more famous one.
Wow. And who helped you along the way there in the beginning?
Yeah, so I've had some amazing coaches over the years. Andrea Raves is somebody that I have trained with since I was 13, and she's been like somebody that I've loved and known for my whole career, and always been there to help me no matter what. And also Vanessa Way helped me when Joey was a little bit younger. She helped me for about 5 years there. And then I moved obviously to Holland, and then trained with Anna Van Alst at Van Alst Horses. And so I've had a little mixture of help there, and I feel very, very grateful for everybody's help.
Yeah. So what you said there was you went to Holland. How old were you when you went to Holland there with Anna? How How old were you then?
That was in 2021. It was just during COVID, so I must have been 29, 28,
Okay.
29.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you then stay there up until the Olympics, or did you come home with Joey?
No, I ended up coming home. So we stayed until the World Championships in 2022 in Denmark, and we competed there. And then we came home after that. We made the decision to come home, and it's an interesting story. I guess, there's highs and lows in the sport, and I had actually sort of decided that maybe that was it for me. And I came home not really with the intention of ever going back or pushing any further than that. I had quite a long story short. I actually had another one of my horses broke my leg when I came home, and I had to have 8 weeks of bed rest. And in that 8 weeks, I sort of had this really big mental turnaround in my life, and it was a big shifting point for me actually. But I had sort of realized, like, oh my goodness, what am I doing giving up? Like, I'm this close. I've got this amazing horse. I still have such a love for the sport. Like, what am I doing? And that really got me back on the horse again.
So what you just said, when you were over there in 2021, coming back in 2022, not sort of really feeling like you wanted to continue. What was it that sort of made you feel like that?
I think when you're over there in that industry, so I was also working at the stable the whole time, so I was riding and training other horses and things. If I'm honest, like, I kind of lost my love for it, because it is so different to riding at home and doing things in your own time, and it really is a business for them. So I sort of saw all the pressures and how it all works over there, and I just sort of thought, I don't think this is for me. And if this is how you have to do it to get to the top, I don't know if I want to do that. I think I'd come home thinking, like, if I have to stay there and do it that way, I can't. It's not something that I was able to do. I got really burnt out and, to be honest, quite depressed. And and it's probably the first time in my life that I'd really felt like that. So, and my parents were also really like, no, you need to come home and have a reset and figure out what you want to do. And and I got a job that was completely unhorse related, which was the first time in my life that I'd done something completely unhorse related, because I just had enough of horses and really wanted a break. And then I broke my leg because of a young horse, and that really just sent me back on my path.
It's funny how sometimes those when something like that happens, it's like a blessing in disguise in a way, isn't it?
It definitely was a blessing. I have a really strong faith in Jesus and God, and that really like reconnected me with that. And I was like, what am I doing? Get back on that path.
Do you think it has something to do to, like you just mentioned, you were over there and you saw a different side to the sport with the pressure, performing, winning and all that. Do you feel then your riding starting at, like with Joey, the connection you have had with him started to change, that really strong bond, because now you were putting on these outside pressures, what was expected, and is that what sort of made you sort of, lose the connection, and that's why you then thought, look, this is not really what I'm after, or what? Can you explain a bit about that maybe?
Yeah, definitely. I think that is definitely a part of it. Like you said, there's so much more pressure, and there's times in training where I would have normally said that's enough, I'm happy with that, but no, you have to push more, and are encouraged to do better and be better, and don't you want to be better, so you've got to keep going. But the thing is, I've trained this horse since he was a 2.5-year-old. I've known him that long, so I kind of knew where his limits were and things like that. And so it is hard when you're in an environment where you are sort of controlled in that way. So I definitely agree with that statement. I think that we lost that, but I think coming back, we had then a year in New Zealand. It was a year and a bit, I think we had in New Zealand together, and we got that back and spades more. Yeah.
That's so good. You established that really strong connection. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so good. So then you were on the couch 8 weeks and had a good think about everything, and now you're back. Then you started to. So then, when did you then begin to start? Okay, well maybe going to the Olympics could be a good idea. Is that when you started to form those thoughts and dreams in your mind?
Yeah, it was. I think so. I actually was able to ride before I was walking properly. It was one of those things that wasn't recommended by the doctors, but I was dying to get back on, and especially on Joey. And I knew he's so safe, so I was like, surely I can just start riding him. And the first ride I had on him, I remember my mum was there keeping an eye on everything, and I just started crying, and then she started crying because I was just so happy to be back on Joey. And I was like, this is it. This is where I'm meant to be, on this horse. And it's always every day just me and Joey down at the arena. You know, we've got mirrors, but it's just me and him every day, training away. So it's just like my happy place, my peace, everything is down there. So it was sort of, I think once I started riding him again, you know, obviously it took a few months to get our fitness back up and strengthen things. And then I sort of, like I think what often happens when you go away and have these really intense training stints, like I had at Van Alst and also in Germany and things, you are taking in so much, and it's not actually sometimes until you come back and have time to really think about it all that you can really apply it. And
Yes.
I found that every time I've gone overseas that I'll actually come back and start to put all these little things that I've learnt together by myself in my own time, and I'm better off after that.
Yes.
And I've actually learned heaps more than I've realised. So that was exactly what happened. There was all these little things and techniques that I'd seen and had been using, but I was able to apply it my way and in my time, and, you know, with Joey understanding it and without the pressure. And he started to just go up and up and up, and everything just got better and better. And I was just like, wow, I think that this is the best he's ever been going. Like, I should be maybe giving this a go. And I think that's when we thought, let's just try.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, that's interesting what you just said there, because it was like really putting a positive spin on the experience, because you recognize actually later on, actually I was pushed way out of the comfort, but coming back and putting it all together, that was the blessing also, wasn't it? Because all that the learning you then actually received, but you could do it now yourself in a different way because you had really connected back with Joey. Is that how you would?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I've trained mostly by myself my entire life. So to throw somebody like me that's done it basically all off feel and then go into somewhere where you're being instructed every single ride, every single day, it's so different. And I did feel like I was losing my feel because you're thinking all the time about what they're telling you and you're not thinking for yourself as I normally would.
Yes.
So I think in coming back, getting back into your feel, plus knowing what they've taught you, it's like that perfect mixture.
Exactly. That makes sense. You have to have your feel with the structure of what you need to do, the balance. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, well that's so good, Melissa. All right, now we're going to the Olympics, and you're going back over now with Joey. Can you just tell us then that experience of going back over to, I don't know where you went, maybe you could tell us where you went, where you were based, and then sort of what unfolded leading up to the Olympics?
Yeah. So I had that year in New Zealand, and that was the most incredible year of my riding. Like, we just went from strength to strength, and it was after that year that we'd won 14 CDIs in a row, and everything in New Zealand and Australia, we won everything and broke all the records. It was unbelievable, the most incredible year of my life as far as competing in a sense. And so then we made the decision to go back to Holland, and I'd been training with Anna Van Alst during that year just remotely because she was still obviously in Holland and I was in New Zealand. And so we did make the decision to go back there. yeah, but knowing now what I knew, I was like,
Yes.
okay, I can do this. Yeah.
That was a very
And
brave move.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was. It was. But it was better because I did know more about what I was also getting myself into and what I wanted, and I knew where I wanted to draw some lines with things and things like that. But yeah, it worked out obviously a lot better the second time, and Joey was extremely familiar with the place, so that made the transition really easy. And so the first competition we did over there was in March, the Dutch Masters, and that is one of the biggest indoor competitions in Europe. It's humongous. It's a FEI World Cup show, and that was like a huge highlight for me. I think we finished 8th in the freestyle final, and it was like one of the most fun competitions I've done in my whole life. I look back at the video and just think, oh, I wish I could ride in environments like that every competition. It's so much fun. And then we actually qualified for the World Cup final in Saudi Arabia. So we qualified for that back in New Zealand, and then we competed at that in April of that year, and obviously flew to Saudi, and that was the whole experience in itself.
Wow.
Again, just bucket list stuff for me, like couldn't believe we were doing that.
Wow.
Competing variable places.
Yes.
So then I think after that, it must have been, we made a plan, and the plan was to do one CDI a month leading up to the Olympics.
Yes.
And yeah, that worked out really, really well for Joey and I, keeping competition fit, but also not overdoing it. And we competed at Aachen the month before. Yeah, and that was actually we did one they call like a small Aachen, and then they have big proper Aachen, and that was my second time competing at the big one. So again, I feel, these shows you have to be selected for and accepted to compete in. So any experience like that is just incredible.
Yes.
Absolutely incredible. And to have that as your like lead up show for the Olympics is just, amazing.
Yes. Wow.
So I'm very, very lucky. Yeah.
And Joey, he took it in his, like he was with you?
Oh, everything. He's just the most incredible horse. Everything we ever threw at him, he just did. He was just like, yep, happy. All the environments, nothing ever fazed him. He was never worried or scared or tense. The only thing I would say was the World Cup final. I think I'd been in Europe. It was about 3 months since I had flown over. And they do talk about that whole, when you fly from one hemisphere to the other, that there's about 3 month kind of like phase, I guess, where the horses can have these downs in their energy because of the transition. And we did go over during the middle of the season. I think we left in January, end of January or early February, and it was obviously peak heat in New Zealand and then very, very cold when we got there. So he was sort of changing coats and all these things, and I think the World Cup final for me, he felt like he was probably one of his flattest moments, even though he still, as always, performed to his best ability. And I think we finished 10th there. So it was, again.
Still very
amazing.
good. Yes.
It was still just amazing.
Wow. Just going back to the competition, you mentioned the freestyle where you said you had a great feeling on him before you went to Saudi Arabia. That competition there, can you talk about what was it that was different there? What was the feeling you felt, the connection with him? Can you tell us a bit of that inside story there?
Yeah. I think so I'd ridden the Grand Prix the day before. Or I think it was 2 days before, and sadly it was not a good test, and that was my first test back from back in Europe since I'd just had all the success back in New Zealand, and I was actually highly disappointed, as you could imagine. My scores had dropped a lot, and I just thought, oh my goodness, this is not good. So then I kind of went back in my head, like mentally, to where I had my best rides, and the best ride I had up until then was at the Australian Nationals in 2023, which we won the freestyle with just under 80%. And I just thought, okay, get back into that mind space and think, how was I riding then? How did it feel? And when I was warming up for the freestyle, I just went straight back to that, and I got in that same feeling, and I just went out there with way more confidence and trust in Joey. And I sort of thought, he knows all this. I just have to trust him. And it was the freestyle, which I love my freestyle that I have with him. And the atmosphere is like, incredible. It's so hard to explain those atmospheres because it's all indoors and it's very close, and it was just packed, like people everywhere, all ends of the arena, and lights and just everything, just incredible. And I think I am quite a show off, so I feel like I went in there and thought, wow, is this like, it's like dark, but there's lights and there's such an atmosphere and the music's loud, and I just thought, right, let's go. and
that is so
he did.
good.
He just pulled out the most amazing performance, and it's definitely one that I look back on and think, wow, that was so cool.
Oh my God, that just is, you can almost feel it when you're talking about it.
It's actually, it was so sweet because they knew that he was Joey, and I often call him my Joey because he is my Joey. And I think in the prize giving, the commentator announced when I came out, Melissa Galloway and her Joey. And I just thought that was so cute.
That's so good. Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So now, after all this, you are now going to Paris. So let's talk about that. Now you've arrived in Paris and you are preparing. Then what?
Yeah. Oh, it was the most surreal day, I think. I was so blessed to have my family there. So my mum and dad had flown over. My sister was my groom. She'd flown over to be my groom at the Olympics because my sister and I are best friends, and we'd said our whole lives, if I ever make it, she was going to be my groom.
That is so good.
Yeah, of course that had to happen.
Yeah.
And my husband was there, and we had cousins and things. But that morning, I remember waking up the morning that we were going to drive to Paris for the opening ceremony and to get the horses settled. And I think we were awake at like 1:30 or 2 in the morning because we had to leave really early. And my sister and I, we used to have videos of just being like, oh my goodness, like today is the day. We're going to the Olympics today. And just being so excited the whole way there. And that was just, a really cool memory of thinking, oh my goodness, this is it. We're actually going to the Olympics today.
Yeah,
just crazy, so crazy. And then, because we're in Holland, it wasn't very far away. So we just drove there, and when we arrived, it was all, it was all fairly standard of arriving at a show. You've got to do all the inspections with the horses and find your stables and all the hustle and bustle of getting your gear where it's supposed to be, your feed, and all that normal kind of thing. But I think once we had that all settled, it was sort of like, oh my goodness, we're at the Olympics. And I actually had to get whisked away really quickly because of the opening ceremony was that day. So we had a member of our New Zealand Olympic team come and pick me up and take me right into the Olympic Village, and then get set up with my New Zealand Olympic team, and we all got taken on a bus to the opening ceremony on the river, and it was just, mental, totally crazy.
And how was that, the opening ceremony?
It was amazing, honestly. Like, so cool. I think probably one of the coolest things, like being on those boats, we were actually like confined, I guess, in the boat for such a long period of time, but we were all with the team, like our whole New Zealand team. And, a lot of us don't know each other because we're all in different sports and everyone's just doing their own thing. So it was a time to actually get to know all the other Kiwi Olympians and hear about their sports and what they've been doing. And so I made some awesome friends that night because because of that. So it's something that I really cherish that forever because it's an amazing thing. But it did rain, so we got quite wet. But it was so much fun, we didn't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, so cool.
Yes. Now that you then are ready, you're going to go and have your warm-up before you go and do your Grand Prix. And so tell us about that. Now you're riding.
I think we had a few training sessions before the big day, And again, you know, we always have a plan leading up to that, you know, which days are going to be easy and which days will be a little harder and things. And the other thing we had to contend with was the heat, because it was very hot. And the day I competed, I think it was actually 35 degrees. So it was very hot, and I was on at about 2 p.m., I think. So it was 3 p.m.
The hottest.
So it was very, very hot. I remember when I finished that, my jacket, everything was just like, it was stuck to me. It was very hot. So, yeah, we tried as much as possible to train when it was hot too, like knowing that this is what we had to, you know, be
performing
ready for on the day.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the training sessions, again, it was just incredible, because you're riding, in a weird way, you do get a little bit used to riding amongst all these amazing riders when you're over there for such a long time.
One of them, you know.
And you don't feel like it when you're like, and I was always riding with Isabel Worth.
Yes.
Always. So that was sort of like quite a funny thing, because I just always ended up training with her or ended up in the draw next to her, so we'd always be riding together. But yeah, it's just incredible. I think probably the difference with the Olympics versus all the other shows is that everyone is there with all their like team and country support. So you can see, like, obviously everyone's in their team colours and their kit and everything, and you can really identify everybody, and it's just quite a different, like, special team atmosphere, I suppose. So that was, yeah, so amazing. But I would say probably the most special kind of moment was the first time we were allowed to ride out into the main arena. They call it the field of play. That was like, I was very emotional. I was trying really hard not to actually bawl my eyes out. But you sort of like rode through, you know, it was all just familiarization, but rode through the grandstand, and then you went and you just looked out to the view and the palace and everything, and then it was like actual painting. It was just
so
mind-blowing. So that was probably like, and there's some photos I think of me walking around, I'm just like looking up, smiling like the whole time, just like taking it in, like, wow.
Such an experience.
Yeah, just incredible. We were all saying, like, we will never ride at somewhere so beautiful ever again.
No.
Yeah.
Wow. And then you actually went and you did your best test.
Yeah. Yes. Well, it probably wasn't my best test, but it was one of them.
Yes.
I had one mistake, which I was so frustrated. I had one mistake in my 110 piece, which I never ever do. Joey is so reliable with that. But when I first asked for the aid, he missed it. So he just didn't start. And then I had a bit of a muck up there, and then I got them and we were fine. But other than that, it was amazing. I was just so happy. Yes. Yeah. I was so happy with how he went. And again, in that heat, he just didn't stop trying. And it was a really, like, when I look back at the test, it was really harmonious and beautiful. And I couldn't have asked more, to be fair. It was just awesome. And I think, you know, when you go into that arena, when you're competing, you're so tunnel visioned. You're not thinking about like who's watching or the pressure or that it's the Olympics or anything. You're just, you know, in your normal, like, you know, mindset of competing. And I didn't think about anything else until you finish and do that final halt, and then you sort of look up and look around, and then it's like, oh, it hits you.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah. It's very, very emotional afterwards. So, just amazing. So cool to talk about it, actually.
Yeah. Oh, my God. I'm feeling it just, listening to all your words. So, Melissa, you sound like you are very good at handling the pressure under these circumstances. Is it something that comes sort of natural to you, or is it something you've sort of really worked on to be able to stay, you know, relaxed enough to really connect with Joey to be able to go in and perform? Can you talk a bit about that maybe?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is a little bit something that I do naturally find easier, but I would definitely say it's improved over the years. And I did actually have horrendous nerves when I was really young. I did showing and like just little low-level dressage when I had ponies, and I used to be horrendously nervous doing that. But I think, the more you compete, and I think definitely the better relationship you have with your horses, I think that helps hugely. Like I trust Joey every time. I don't even think like, is he going to do it or not? I just know he will. So I never worry about that. And I think the more big shows we did, the more I trusted him because he was so good with the atmospheres and everything like that. So I just sort of knew that if I just stayed calm, that he would do everything. So I was probably very, again, comes back to that relationship with the horse. And I think having trained them that whole way, as I have with all my horses, I think I just know them so well and know where to support them and when not to. And I've definitely learned over time that the more relaxed I am, the better the test is.
Yes.
So it's better to just be relaxed. And I've learned there's no point worrying about an outcome that hasn't happened yet. What's the point in worrying about a movement that you haven't even done yet? And it might be really good. So don't stress about it. Stay in the moment.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Oh. Have you ever given much thought to your breath, like using your breath to stay connected and relaxed with him? Is that something?
I mean, I think, definitely trying to have like nice deep breaths and keep my center of gravity really low, I think is really important. I don't particularly do any special things, I think, but I try to, keep my heart rate down.
Yes.
And just, I think like you could sort of have like a mental, I don't know what you call it, but like place that you go to, I guess, that just goes, okay, just calm down, back to reality, don't stress. But I probably am best when I'm just thinking, like staying in that, what they call like the flow state, where you're just staying in the moment, not thinking about what you did before that didn't work out or what's going to happen that might not work out, just not thinking about any of that, stay in the moment and just ride each movement for each movement. And that's the best way I can explain what I do.
Yeah, no, that's a good explanation. So having that in mind, if you then go back to other competitions where maybe you have not been able to be that in that state of being because of maybe circumstances or, you were not there, how does that then affect your ride?
Yeah, so that's really interesting because I actually had that happen at Aachen just before I went to the Olympics, and I hadn't had this happen in a long time, but I basically froze. I just went like, I don't know how, or like a jellyfish, I guess, like nothing was working. And it actually came down to expectation because I was competing, it was a freestyle, and I'd had a really good Grand Prix the day before at Aachen, and everyone had said to me, oh my gosh, you've got a really good draw tonight, you could win this. Like they were saying, they were putting all this, like, you could do really well, this is so exciting. And I was feeling like I could, oh my gosh, like this could be it. Just before the Olympics, this is going to go really well. And the warm-up went really well, and I felt like, oh my gosh, I'm ready to go in there and just nail it. And it was at 11 o'clock at night, and it was dark under lights, and it was such a cool atmosphere. But I went into that arena and I just felt like something hit me and I was just like, and I froze and I just stopped riding completely. And I've not had that happen in such a long time. And I felt like, I remember saying to Anna when I came out, I felt like a jellyfish riding, that like nothing was working. Like I was telling myself, put your right leg on, and it wasn't going on. And I think like Joey kind of took me through that test, but it was not, unfortunately, it was far from my best, and I was highly disappointed when I came out, but it was also a good learning just before the Olympics.
Yes. Yeah, no, but I find that so, like exactly what you're just talking about there. I really feel that that's actually something I think all equestrians kind of understand that point. Yeah. And actually it's learning to really manage and understand ourselves, isn't it? in these pressured situations. So
Yes,
maybe it was also a blessing in disguise to have that just before the Olympics, because
I
then
think
you
so.
switched it.
Yeah, I think so. And I think I very quickly was like, wow, I went back to that putting expectation on, and I had stopped doing that and I had been a lot better because of it. I had just been like, you know what? All I want to do is ride my next best test, and whatever the outcome is what it
Yes,
is. And suddenly
yes,
I went to, I want to win. And I wasn't thinking about just doing the best test I could do. And
yes,
then that happened. So
yes,
I think it's important to just ride for yourself and ride your best test that you can do in the moment and let the outcome be what it will be.
yes. That's very good advice. Well, I'll tell you what, your whole experience with Joey over there, with all the lead up and then going there, that was just, it sounds, yeah, so amazing. But then tell us then now. So now you've been there, and now you have to sort of start coming back home again. Tell us then the story about that, because you've left Joe over there now. Is that correct? And now you
Yes.
come back. So maybe give us that final chapter of the story, if that's okay with you.
Yes. Yeah. So that was, again, like, I think everything happens for a reason. So we had put him into quarantine, so we'd thought, and
Yep.
come back to New Zealand. And then we got a phone call about a week later saying that they'd taken him out of quarantine because, due to me having competed in Saudi Arabia, there was a 6-month period that they had to stay in Europe before they were allowed out again, like a sort of quarantine type of thing.
Yes.
And we had thought it was a 3-month thing, so we thought, okay, it's fine. After the Olympics, it's perfect. He can come home. And to be fair, 3 vets and everything had also thought the same, so we'd sent him into quarantine. And then, of course, yeah, we find out that actually, no, it's 6 months. So he comes out of quarantine, and we had to find somewhere for him to go for another 3 months before he was allowed back home.
Yes.
Thankfully, I trained in Germany for a year when I was 18, and Hubertus, who I train with, was still in contact with him, and he didn't live that far from the quarantine, so he was able to take him for, that period of time while we sort of figured out what we were going to do. And because over there they aren't in a paddock, the whole time, they're stabled, so they need to be
Yes.
exercised or ridden,
Yes.
purely for the sake of moving moving their joints and things. And so his partner was riding him, and she's a beautiful rider, and that was all going really well. And then, of course, they had a young rider that also trained with Isabel Worth, and Isabel knows Joey. They were looking for a horse, of course, asked about Joey, and then that all sort of came together. And so then Hubertus approached me and was like, would you sell him? And it was one of those things that initially I just thought, oh my goodness, I don't know if I could do that. So I sort of thought, we'll see how the ride goes, how they gel. And it's a beautiful girl, 21 years old, looking for a young rider horse, under 25 Grand Prix. And it was just one of those things that was obviously meant to be, because they're just absolutely beautiful together.
Yes.
And it meant we didn't have to ship him all the way back home. And of course, it is expensive. The whole thing is hugely expensive to do these big campaigns in Europe. And you do come home, and there is that reality of, we've now spent how much money on doing these campaigns, and realistically, Joey could come back, and then what was I going to do? Just push him even further, and and he is living a wonderful life over there, and not being pushed as hard as he was with me, and being
Yes.
cared for beautifully and loved. So it's hard. Like, honestly, it was, as you can imagine, extremely
Yes.
hard and heartbreaking at the time. But I feel a huge amount of peace about it, and I definitely feel like it was the right decision and meant to be.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. How you feel about it usually tells you, doesn't it? Tells you whether that was the right thing. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And I think, had I been with him over there, or had he come back, I don't think I would have been able to sell him. But maybe it was a blessing as well that we weren't together at the time, so it made
Yes.
that a little bit easier for me. But
Yes.
it is, still, never going to be something that's easy.
No. No.
Yeah.
Wow, what a story. I love that. So now you're home and you have been to the Olympics. What are the biggest lessons you learned, like for yourself, that you sort of taken with you to now move forward and, you know, continue? You're so young and continue on your path, you know. Well, tell us some of that.
I would say probably the biggest lesson I think actually is to trust myself, like trust my gut and trust myself with making decisions about the horse and about my training and things like that. I think, you know, it's easy to get into those environments, like I said earlier, and you feel like suddenly you have to do everything that they or that, you know, whoever wants you to do with your horse. And I think I really learnt that I know my horse best, especially, you know, these ones I've been with forever, and be confident in that, confident in knowing, like, I know what my horse needs, I know how it feels, I know when it needs rest, and all those kind of things, I would say, is a massive one that I took home and thought, you know what, if I do this again, I'm going to really believe in myself and trust myself that I know what's best for my horse. So it's probably the biggest one.
That's a good one. It's a very good one.
Yeah. I think it's just, I think anyone that goes over there probably feels a bit the same. You feel like we feel like we're nothing and that we just have to fit into their mould. But I think, we know our horses, so.
Yes. That's so good. And do you feel a lot of this, like all this that you've experienced now, coming back, settling into your life, you mentioned you were married, and sort of having now to move on, has it sort of really helped you now? Like you feel very, like you're just saying, confident, and you sort of, your life is now sort of really expanding out in new ways? Is that, would you say, sort of like that?
Yes, definitely. I mean, I can't really believe that I've achieved everything that I've, you know, honestly, everything I ever wanted to achieve. It was my goal or my dream to do a World Championship, a World Cup final, and an Olympic Games. And I did all of that in a couple of years or 3 years. And to think that it's all done, you know, it's incredible. So, and I feel very, very blessed to have done it all with one horse and at my age. And so I just feel very content in life. And now I'm really focusing on family life, also training, of course, my next lot of horses. But I feel a lot less like my family and my husband would agree that I was just tunnel visioned for my goals. It's all I've done my whole life. Really, like the last 20 years has been dedicated, and all my friends, everybody would agree that was always priority, was I needed to be at competitions, achieving. And that's really, like, I dedicated myself wholeheartedly to that. And now I feel like I'm a bit more like, okay, there is other things in life. I don't have to be so crazy determined. But that's still in me. It's definitely not gone. And I don't think it ever will be. But I just feel like now anything else is a bonus. I've done everything I ever wanted, and anything else that I do or achieve or whatever is just an added bonus to what I'm already extremely happy with. Yes.
Wow. That is so good. So now moving on, do you do clinics and help others and to sort of achieve their dreams?
Yes. So I've actually ended up doing that a huge amount this past year since I've been home. Has mostly been teaching and clinics over all throughout New Zealand and Australia. I'm doing as well now.
Okay.
So it's so cool, and I've been absolutely loving it. It's something when I was younger I didn't love as much, but I think I was young and sort of felt like no one will trust what I have to say because I'm so young. But I think now that I have so much more experience and confidence, and I have so much belief in my system, having trained so many more horses through now as well, that I love it. And I think, the feedback is so positive, and it's so cool to see, especially like so many young riders coming through with the same dreams and same ambitions, and being able to help them along their way. It's what it's all about, isn't it? Like being able to pass that on.
Yes. Well, you have so much to offer, and now you feel so confident about it, as you say.
Yeah.
So would you say that then really coming back, like lots of new doors have opened for you? Different doors, new doors. Would you say that?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Different. Yeah, like I think a lot with the coaching side of it. And I've done a lot of speaking at different events and things as well, which has been something that I've always thought if I get asked to do it, I'm just going to do it, even though it's challenging for me.
Yes.
But I found every time I've just got more and more confident and really, really enjoyed it. So, yeah, and a lot of, offered to ride a lot of horses and things like that, which is always so amazing. But again, I'm very I like to kind of stick to my small team of horses that I've had from the very beginning. And I don't necessarily want like the best, flashiest horse. I'm looking for horses that are trainable and that want to work for me. And I feel like that's what I've got at the moment with my wee team. So I'm loving it.
Yeah. Wow. Well, Melissa, this has been a very good conversation. I have loved listening to you and Joey. Oh, you could just feel it.
Oh,
so good. Well, to finish off with, tell me, if you could put a little message into every equestrian's heart, what would that be?
Oh, goodness. I mean, there's so many things. I think, to just do what you love. Like if you love the sport, don't let anything stop you from doing it, and believe in yourself, and I think just taking that next step, like every day, just going back out and riding again or doing a little bit more is so important. Just like it sounds so simple, like putting one foot in front of the other, but really I think when you have a bad ride or a bad day or whatever, you just go out, do it again the next day, and often you'll be like, oh, actually, it's all fine. We are still making progress, and just keep hanging on to those little bits of hope. You do take 3 steps forward and 2 steps back or whatever in the sport often, and but it's all about the journey. It's enjoying the journey. It's not like, okay, we all want to make the Olympics. It has to be that. It's such a, the sport takes so long. We're in it for so many years to get a horse trained up to Grand Prix or whatever the level is you want to train it to, that I think you just have to enjoy the daily, enjoy the journey, enjoy riding your horse and be grateful, that your horse is doing so much for you. I think that's an easy one to take for granted. It's these animals, they were just animals at the end of the day, do so much for us, and they trust us with everything. And I just think how blessed are we to work with these amazing animals, and that they will do so much for us.
Oh, thanks for that. That's I'll take that. Thanks. Now, since now you are doing clinics and starting to do all this, where can people find you? Have you got how do they come in contact with you?
Yeah, I mean, I like to keep everything very low key. I'm keep everything really chill and relaxed. So if people want to, they can just message me on Facebook or contact me directly is fine. At the moment, I've been doing clinics in Adelaide and Melbourne, but I'm just not wanting to do too many because I do so much in New Zealand. But again, like I said, if people want to have clinics, then they can just contact me directly and we can go from there.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate your time. And we'll say goodbye to everyone. Thank you. And we will see you next time.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. I hope you really enjoyed it and found lots of wisdom and inspiration to take with you. If you enjoyed this conversation, please remember to like and subscribe below. That will help these conversations reach other equestrians like you. Thank you. Until next time, ride the way you want to live.